So I've decided that I'm just done. I'm gonna quit. I'm really tired, and I just think I'm not gonna do it anymore. So I'm gonna explain all that, but I wanted to show you around the camper again. Got some things done which helped me come to this decision that I've made. So the camper isn't in great shape. We knew that when we bought it. That's why it was so cheap. So it doesn't have a water system. So we've been trying to figure all this out, what we were going to do to get water in here. Well, fortunately, I dug into it before I just made a decision. Oh, let's buy a bunch of stuff. Underneath this couch here is the water tank system. It's actually a very small water tank. I mean, it couldn't be 20 gallons. So underneath the couch, there's a water tank. There's a water pump. There is probably a water heater, if I had to guess, is what that was underneath there. When I got under there and I looked, everything is disconnected. Had I hooked a hose up to the outside, because there's a little connection you hook a hose up, it would have sprayed water everywhere. So we've been trying to figure out what we want to do. Originally, I thought we'd just run a hose from our IBC tank, our RV water pump, just like the one that's in here. That water pump works, by the way. I tested it, it works. But then I got to thinking, well, I'm just creating another potential for a leak. And that water pump runs when there's a leak in it. So every time I work on the plumbing, I always form a leak, and then I spend a month trying to isolate the leak and get it fixed. So I just didn't think that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to get him some water down here. Now the other issue we had is I'm not sure the water heater works down here. So we were trying to figure out how we could hook up the on-demand water heater. We have two. You've seen that, one in our shower, one's in the attic. It just seemed a lot more simple with less potentials of problems if I just have Carolyn's son come out here to the well, start the generator. Well, actually, hook the hose. Just grab the hose from the well here, take it into the shower, screw it into the on-demand water heater, the second one that we have. Start the generator, turn the well on, and let the water heater kick on, and they just run it until he's done, come back out here and shut it all off. And then when he's done, he can just disconnect the hose and run it back outside. That's not really a huge system issue. The only thing that he might struggle with is learning how to use the generator stuff. And I'm not calling him stupid, but everything here has a little quirk to it. For example, if we run the water too fast out of the well, we can run the well dry. It takes about 15 minutes to fill it back up. So you got to be careful that the nozzle is pointed just like that. So I got to make sure to remind him not to touch the nozzle, leave it just like that. How to start the generator. There's two speeds on the generator. When you start the generator, you plug it in, you got to have it on high, and then you need to turn it down on low after it starts so you don't use as much propane. Just little things. So it's going to take some time to teach him all that. It's just my quirks, actually. If anything, I mean, why waste propane? That's, my thinking. So I don't know. We'll get through it. The other thing that I wanted to work on was electric. And we did get electric to work. Now, a camper has DC and AC electric. When you're running DC, you're taking AC electric, it comes into the camper as AC electric, and then it's converted into DC electric. Now imagine this is crazy. We have solar panels that make DC electric. Yeah, I know somebody's gonna say, oh, you should do this and do that. I don't want to spend any more money right now. We've spent quite a bit of money on what we've already done, and so I just want to take a break. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this as cheaply as possible and still get him what he needs. And I can guarantee you, even though that I've said that, somebody's gonna say, you need to spend money. Got that the other day. I told everybody I'm not going to spend any money. We're going to figure out how to do this with what we already have. And I was told I needed to buy an IBC tank and gutters for the house so I could run water into the IBC tank. And by the time it was all said and done, I'd have been up another $1,000 doing what this guy wanted. And the thing is I know why they do it. It's because specifically said so you don't have to run the well. Well, I don't mind running the well. I'll just run the well. But they don't have a well. So they want me to teach them how to do something that I don't have. So I need to spend the money to teach them. And I've never done that. Electric goes into the batteries, basically, from the solar panels. I have to invert it into AC. So it's DC, batteries DC, to AC. Then it comes into here and gets converted. So inverted, then converted back to DC. Now, yes, somebody's gonna say, oh, I just hooked the camper up to the solar panels and all that stuff. I get it, but that means we gotta buy a battery too. So these lights here are DC lights. So you can see they don't work unless I turn on the converter. Let's see, it's this. I don't know if you can hear the buzz. There's a buzz right there. Now that that is on, I can turn that on. The problem is that converter uses 40 watts an hour, which isn't a problem during the day. That'd be okay. But at night, 40 watts is a lot to run non-stop. So like I said, if we had a battery, there might be some options available to us. I don't know how well the systems work in this camper. I mean, had I hooked water up, we'd have been in serious trouble. So I got to check everything before I do all that. So I might just see if I can grab a battery out of our system, hook it up over here and see if it works. The tester works, all that testing stuff. I'll show you that. Oops, that's the air conditioner. Ooh, don't do that. So the blower on the air conditioner works, you may have just heard. I don't want to test it any more than that because I'd have to hook it up to the generator. All the testing equipment to make sure everything works right there. So we're getting DC electric because I just turned it on. All the tanks are empty because there are no tanks. This is the water pump. The fridge works, but I have unplugged that. So he can't have lights is what I'm trying to get to. So he can only have AC. So we've plugged in from our inverter to here. So he can have AC electric, no DC, so no lights. Fortunately, the camper came with a bunch of stuff. So the light should work unless I've messed something up. There. So now he's got that light. So he doesn't need the DC lights. Now, the DC lights actually use quite a bit of electric also. Each light bulb in here uses 30 watts. So they're these old type of brake light bulbs, and most of them in here are burned out. So if we wanted to do it, we could use LED lights or something, but again, that converter uses a lot of electric, so we'll just stick with AC. Now I have a battery operated lantern that he can use, and all he has to do is charge it with a USB charger. So at night he can use that in his bedroom, and during the day he can charge it. So he's going to have some electric, but really he can't have a lot of electric at night. We just don't have it available, which brings me to these components. So it's come with a toaster, 2 coffee pots, but we can't run them unless it's on the generator, so there's no reason to even worry about it. We're going to get him a little Coleman can stove. Actually, the one he'll get is the one I've been using for canning. It has a microwave. It worked when I turned it on. It worked. But again, I've unplugged it right here. I unplugged it because it's just more electric that we can't afford with the solar panels. It came with all kinds of bottled water, dumped all over the place. I'm not going to hook up any of the propane components because I don't know if there's any leaks. I saw that there's a pipe cut and that bent it, and I'm guessing they bent it so it didn't leak, but I don't want to even think about testing all that. He just needs a place to stay, and we'll do the best we can with what we got here. He's just gonna have to learn, if he wants to stay here, to live off grid. Carolyn took all the sheets and bedding out here. It had brand new sheets and blankets. So she took it all out and washed them real good today. The sheets and the mattress cover, some pillowcases. It's got 2 blankets that she's got hung up, one over the bed of the truck and one over the bridge. Look at just pillowcases everywhere. Isn't that crazy? And then there's the cat hanging out underneath the blanket. So there's one of the blankets. And then there's another blanket strewn over the back of the truck just like that. So they're drying. I think now all I gotta do is get the water heater out of the attic and he should be able to come move in. He found out he doesn't have to be here until Saturday. We thought he was gonna have to be here yesterday, but we were just wrong with that. Now yesterday I showed you I'll put a up next box at the end of this video to yesterday's video when the camper arrived, that way you can watch it. But he hit our well house bringing that camper down here. Of course, the roof is not attached right now, so I slid it all the way over, but he still hit it and he broke it, broke the roof. So I bought some silicone Loctite and I put over that. It's already starting to dry, so tomorrow I'll put this back into spot. This camper, I told you in yesterday's video, that is not where we want it. We want it over here, but he got stuck and couldn't pull it out. So he said he's going to come back with a different truck and try to pull it out. Again, told you all that yesterday, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get it with a 4x4. So if not, I'm going to try to find somebody with a tractor and have them come out and pull it up. I've operated a tractor most of my childhood. It's just so simple. You come in with the 3-point hitch, you just lift it up with a ball, drag it over. It'd be so simple with a tractor. So yesterday I showed you that it had a broken window. So I got some Coroplast out of the old truck camper. This was our lining for the shower. So I cut that off and I got some Gorilla Tape and I Gorilla Taped it on there. So it's not perfect. We'll find a window one of these days. I'm not sure. I mean, it may work just fine. Who knows? But Gorilla Tape lasts forever, and it didn't use much of it, so I can use it later. And the thing I thought was kind of neat is that there's 2 side panel windows here, a center window and 2 side panels, so he'll still get some sunlight into the bedroom. He also has this. I haven't figured out how to operate it yet. I guess you just lift it up so he could get some sunlight in this way also. Oh, that's pretty filthy. And then this is the window that was busted out on the other side. Now when he leaves the place, you know, goes to work or wherever he's going to do, I'm going to make sure that we shut off the inverter. It's just an old camper. I don't know how well the electric works on it, and I would rather not have the electric on while he's gone. And we're going to give him a carbon monoxide detector because we're going to give him the buddy heater and the Coleman cook stove. We're going to give him a fire extinguisher out of the truck, and that way if something catches on fire, he's right there to take care of it. Especially with it sitting underneath the electric wires right now. Of course, we want to move it, so we'll move it as soon as we can. But if that caught fire, then those electric wires being on fire, that'd be a problem. So I told you I was getting tired of all this. Today when I was hooking up the wiring, I got to thinking about how I used to really love doing all that stuff. Solar panels and all that. I mean, when I was in my 30s, I dreamt about doing that stuff. I just loved working with it. And here I am just stripping wires and hooking up plugins, and I'm like, man, I hate this. I'm just tired of it. Yesterday when I was watching this guy pull this camper down, you could see the testosterone running off of him. I mean, he was and I was saying to myself, oh, he's gonna get stuck, he's gonna get stuck. Not because I'm negative, because I've experienced all this stuff before in my life. I know that when you pull something heavy on a soft ground and on a hill, you're gonna get stuck. I just know it. But he said, no, I can do it. I know I can do it. I remember saying those kind of things when I was young. Oh yeah, that's no problem. I got 4-wheel drive. I can pull right out of it, no problem. So I mean, I let him do it, and maybe he learned. Maybe he thought, well, okay. So life experiences have gotten me where I don't thump my chest and where I don't have these desires to conquer the world anymore. I've done a lot of it. All the things that I wanted to do, I've accomplished a lot. I've gotten stuck. I've done the solar panels. I live off grid. I mean, I enjoy living off grid. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying all these things that make you want to thump your chest and tell you how big of a man you are, trying to prove something to yourself. I don't have anything to prove to myself anymore. I've done it all. I'm pretty satisfied with it. So if you click this up next box, it'll take you to that video I was telling you about him bringing this down. So I hope I can inspire you to get tired of it so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.